And we welcome those of you that have just watched the Cardinals and the Padres kick things off here. Padres, well, they gave people a cause to think in St. Louis. And now who will be thinking harder here? The Red Sox or White Sox? And guys, let's point out right away here a 3:10 local start. How the shadows, Mike, you catch, Rick, you pitch. How will this affect everybody involved?
Well, I'll tell you right now, it's a real good time to pitch, huh, Michael?
No question about it. In 1996, we opened up against the Atlanta Braves at Dodger Stadium at 5 o'clock against John Smoltz. So needless to say, we didn't have much of a chance.
The Red Sox line up. Johnny Damon, of course, leads it off, and you saw him run again the last week of the season. Edgar Renteria is the shortstop. David Ortiz, Big Papi, what hasn't he done? Leading the majors with 148 RBIs. Right behind in homers and ribbies, Manny Ramirez in left. Trot, Nixon, playing against righties, lefties, all of them in right field. Jason Varitek, the captain, who wears that C so proudly behind the plate. Kevin Millar gets the start. He has hit Contreras well, despite the fact that you might have thought Olerud would get in there. Billy Miller, the batting champ of a couple of years ago, hitting 8th. Tony Graffinino at second base, mid-season acquisition, going up against José Contreras, 15-7, who's been nothing short of brilliant in the second half.
Well, Boomer, you talked about which Sox team will show up. We got to wonder which José Contreras will show up. The guy that was perfect in the month of September, he was the American League Pitcher of the Month, or the guy that has struggled in his career against these Red Sox?
Well, let's look at the defense, and the White Sox, certainly this is one area where on paper they have an advantage over the Red Sox.
Yeah, no question about it. I mean, if you're going to give the Red Sox more than 3 outs an inning, you're really going to be in trouble. So these guys can catch the ball. They're playing good defense and, you know, make the routine plays. You make the spectacular play once in a while, but if you're going to allow these guys to continue to get more outs than they should, they're going to really hurt you.
So we're underway with José Contreras, a perfect 6-0 in September. You look at a lot of his numbers, and there's the numbers of Johnny Damon, 316. He flirted with a chance to win the batting title for a while, but I think at 316 he didn't have to say excuse me to anybody.
Yeah, Rick and I talked to him before the game. He said he feels great.
And there's a glove right away by Paul Konerko, hit well by Damon. Konerko is there to snare the first out of the game.
Mike, that's such a great point about how important it is for Chicago to make all of the plays and then occasionally come up with a great play like that from Konerko. They have to be on their toes defensively. That, to me, was really the big key to their success. They've got a lot of starting pitchers that are okay. I mean, they've won some games in the past, but they became great because these guys made a lot of plays.
Edgar Renteria swinging as hot a bat as he's had for Boston the last couple of weeks. The come over from St. Louis, not as smooth as everybody thought. Look, we've known about Renteria since he arrived as, what, a 19-year-old and won games for Florida. The World Series, a Division Series game against the Giants. He's been a big-time player for a long time, but he scuffled in Boston for him. Agree?
He really did, Boomer. And Mike, you know a lot about this. I mean, to me, he had a lot of the same pressure this year that Alex Rodriguez did a year ago with the Yankees.
And changing leagues, it's tough for anybody. But he's one of those cut and slash type hitters that in a playoff situation you can't underestimate it, because he's a guy that in the clutch it's tough to jam him. He has an inside out swing, takes a lot of pitches, as you see here.
2-1 pitch, and that's fisted. Konerko kind of lost it for a minute, and look at that, just like you say, Mike, and Renteria's going to try for 2. Safe. They had a chance, but Uribe couldn't handle the throw from Dye, so there's an excuse me double to look like a shot off the wall in the scoreboard.
That's what I'm just saying. It's just so tough to jam him, because he throws that knob across his body right here inside. You see he keeps the bat close to his body, and that looks like a line drive.
And you know, Mike, there's a lot of guys here for the Red Sox that have postseason experience. There's a lot for the White Sox without it, and that clearly was a play that Uribe could have made. He could have applied the tag. That could have been a big out there. Instead, runner in scoring position, and here comes the big 2.
Can't underestimate the adrenaline factor, I'll tell you that.
David Ortiz. No full-time designated hitter has ever been named the MVP. He could be the first. It'll be a tight vote with him and A-Rod. Inside the Big Pappy, and each team plays him differently. Of course, with a runner at second base, you're limited a little bit, but still the softball type short center fielder alignment with Iguchi way out on the grass, guys. Shortstop Uribe directly behind the pitcher.
You see a lot of these exaggerated shifts in the last few years, just from the intense scouting reports and the charts. I mean, you have every last 1,000 balls he's put in play, so it gives you a little bit of a indication of where he's going to end up swinging.
Do you like him when your team does him?
I'm sorry?
Do you like him when you guys say, hey, move 4 guys over there?
And I'm a little bit of a traditionalist. I believe the guys have been there for 100 years, so why are you going to move them so much?
2-0 count to David Ortiz. Taking the strike. Part of the strategy, right, is even though they respect Contreras and what he's done, maybe build up the pitch count and see what
it's been their strategy the last 3 years. Their outstanding hitting coach, Ron Jackson, he said very seldom do you win a game with a solo home run. Very seldom do you lose one when you hit a 3-run homer. That's their game plan.
Inside to Ortiz, and that'll be 3-1 to him.
Yeah, these guys take a lot of pitches, and they're not afraid to hit with 2 strikes. I mean, that's one of the keys of good hitting.
You were talking with Ron Jackson about that before the game, yeah.
No question.
Has he done a good job? Of course, it helps to have Ortiz and Ramirez, but he's one of the best. Papa Jack.
Those are very coachable guys.
Oh, there is that one that dipped right down, and that's, and Seth will have you explain it here. It's not so much the splitter, it's an old-fashioned forkball.
Well, he can really get, he uses a softball to get his fingers loose as he goes around it. But Boomer, also what he has added, he's added a straight changeup. He's throwing more two-seam fastballs now than he has in the past. And he's got a slider, not just a fastball forkball guy.
Full count to Big Pappy here in the first. Wow, had him fishing. And a big strikeout for Contreras, 2 out.
He figured with a base open here, he's going to go ahead and try to expand the strike zone. Right here, 3-2 split, just dropped off the table. Hard to hit, hard to catch.
And still, as we mentioned to begin with, hard to see. David Ortiz not normally fooled like that.
Now 2 down with a runner at second base, and out of the frying pan and into the fire. There's Ortiz, and now here's Manny Ramirez. 144 RBIs on the season.
Mike, you did the same kind of thing, but the consistent production from Manny Ramirez, I mean, to me, just remarkable.
He is. He's like a clock. I mean, he goes out there every day, prepares for the game. We saw him watching video before the game in the clubhouse.
Yeah.
And knows what he wants to do, knows the pitch he wants to hit.
Chopper to third. Joe Creedy. Ooh, he short-armed it to Konerko, who dug it out. Rennery is stranded. Contreras gets out of it. The White Sox coming to bat in the first.
Is that your new Sprint phone?
Uh-huh. With Sprint's new fair and flexible plans, no one can tell me what to do. I can talk when and how I want. It's my little way of sticking it to the man.
But you are the man.
I know.
So you're sticking it to yourself.
Maybe.
Sprint's new fair and flexible plans with no huge overages or roaming charges. You control your plan. It doesn't control you. Plans start at just $29.99 a month. Sprint. Yes, you can.
For good health, I like to stay in shape.
And speaking of shapes, check out the shape of our Craftmatic adjustable bed. If you're concerned about the shape you're in, call toll-free and get this free Craftmatic catalog by mail.
You'll also receive this special $200 off rebate certificate, good for $200 off the Craftmatic Model 1 bed of your choice. To receive everything free,
Call toll-free. There's absolutely no obligation.
Call toll-free 1-800-544-1000.
Goodyear knows you're not the only one who depends on your tires. That's why there's the new Goodyear Wrangler with Silent Armor technology. It's engineered with a layer made with Kevlar for toughness and a quieter ride. Get the truck tire you can count on. The new Goodyear Wrangler.
Thank you.
With silent armor technology. So you can be there on the wings of Goodyear.
ESPN's Major League Baseball Division Series is presented by Budweiser. Bright, crisp, clean, pure, the king of beers. And in part by Wendy's. Do great taste at a low price. Do Wendy's. Do what tastes right. And Chevy. Chevy and baseball, they just go together. An American revolution.
Welcome back to Chicago. The White Sox coming to the plate. And manager Ozzie Guillen's starting lineup begins with the man with 59 stolen bases, second in the league, Scott Podsednik adventure, the left fielder. Tadahito Iguchi, a longtime pro in Japan. Excellent first year in the bigs over here at second. Jermaine Dye, first healthy year in about 3 years. You see it, what it meant with 31 homers. Not only Ortiz, not only Ramirez, but Paul Konerko has 40 homers 2 years in a row. Carl Everett, one-time Red Sox, is the designated hitter. Aaron Rowand is the center fielder. He can hit the homers, although that production down this year. A.J. Pierzynski in the postseason again behind the plate with 18 homers. Joe Crede, 22 homers at third base. And the dangerous and underrated Juan Uribe hitting ninth at the shortstop against the all-star pitcher for the Boston Red Sox. Almost became a White Sox in this offseason. One-time pitched across town for the Chicago Cubs, Matt Clement.
32 starts this year for Clement. He won 22 of them. The Boston Red Sox, when he was on the mound, they've got a lot of confidence in him. And he said before the game, he has a lot of confidence in what's going to happen for him today.
Cheating it on the grass is Millar at third. Cognizant of the wheels of Podsednik. The White Sox are interesting. Yes, they scored 160 less runs than Boston. 169, of course, they gave up 160 less, so you can see the difference in the teams, but how each got there. But they can play small ball or big ball, can't they?
Yeah, Scott Podsednik is their table setter. I mean, he gets on base, he breaks up the entire rhythm of the game. Pitcher's always got to be conscious of where he is. He knows he could steal that base.
And when he gets on base, Boomer, I don't think there's anybody in baseball, as he does now, that has seen more fastballs this year than Iguchi because of the speed of Podsednik.
Well, they hit the by pitch, and so do you anticipate the White Sox? Once upon a time, that last home World Series game that they won, they were the go-go White Sox. Will we see go-go from Podsednik?
You know what? That was their key all year long, Mike.
I think he has to, and like you said, with Taguchi behind him, he's getting a lot of heaters, able to let him steal the base, take a pitch.
Clement is pretty good, pretty quick going to home plate. We know Varitek's got a strong arm. He does not have a great pickoff move, so I look for Podsednik to get out there as far as he can.
Tadahito Iguchi, and time is called. John Hirschbeck is the home plate umpire, the crew chief.
You'll see Clement here. I mean, he just wants to break up Podsednik's rhythm. I mean, he doesn't want to get him a running start. He's going to utilize the hold, step off.
So Clement and Iguchi lays down a bunt. Varitek's going to have to go to first with it. And very good strategic small ball played by the White Sox.
Yeah, they're breaking that out right away. Get the runner in scoring position.
You know, it tells me, too, that they've lost a little bit of confidence in Podsednik in the stolen base. You know, several of them this year down from last year, but he had a leg injury right about the All-Star break. He got thrown out a lot, and I think Ozzie Guillen said, you know what? We've got a lot of momentum going right now with our team, with this crowd. Let's just go ahead and put him in a scoring position and let the big boys come up and hit.
And that big boys would be Jermaine Dye and Paul Konerko. Dye with 31 homers, 86 RBIs this year.
Oh, you're right, Rick. I mean, and then, you know, give him a pitch or two to steal the base and possibly bunt him to third with less than 2 outs.
And again, the step out. Podsednik, you know, 17 of 18 times successful when he goes for third. We'll see. in there for a strike. Now, Sutton, Mike, talk about the Clement that we're going to see here. The ball's weaving, bobbing. It'd be interesting to catch, wouldn't it?
Well, to be a complimentary, it's effectively wild, as we say. As a catcher, it's not a lot of fun.
Always one of the league leaders in hit batsmen. He's going to walk some people. And, Mike, they got to go up there and try to hit off of him in the twilight.
And as a catcher, you're going to set up outside. He's going to throw inside. Inside, he's going to throw outside. Right there. As Varitek tried to go away and sunk the ball back over the plate. So he's got to be on his toes.
How about your success off of Matt Clement?
Well, I have no success. He actually fell down one time and threw a strike in Florida. He gives me fits. So
he's got the ability to dominate, and a lot of times he will just get himself in trouble, as he has here with the hit by pitch with Podsednik. But he's got great stuff, no question, and he's a guy that will always take the ball.
And that's important. I mean, you got stuff, you have poise on the mound, and you have command. And 2 out of 3, those are the ones you want.
Dye hammers that foul. Just in case you were wondering, Mike, we come with everything here. Let's see. Mike Piazza against Matt Clement, 4 for 24, 8 Ks. Sorry.
You don't have to tell me that.
Sorry.
I got it right here.
Hey, Boomer, do me a favor. Let's don't go with his career numbers against me, all right? Let's just.
Both Dodger Rookie of the Years. Yeah. I thought you guys had a code here, you know?
It's a fraternity.
I thought we were tight, too. But...
he got on my tie. I'm getting on his coat.
Nice tie. I like that tie. That's what you were in behind the chest protector all these years.
Exactly.
Now the Red Sox had a runner at second base and didn't plate him in the first. Can the White Sox? 1 and 2 to Dye. And there's another hit by pitch. Wow. How about building a rally? 2 hit by pitch and a sacrifice.
Mike, just like you talked about, as we take a look at the replay, you can see Varitek sitting on the outer half. He moves out, and look where it ends up.
16 times he hit batters this year, second most in the league.
Yeah. His stuff is erratic stuff, and to be effective, he has to have some sort of command as to what side of the plate. I mean, you split the plate in thirds, and that's going to make a day tough for him, especially to this lineup, because they are a very underestimated lineup.
Only 2 men have hit back-to-back seasons of 40 or more home runs for the White Sox. The man that threw out the first pitch today, the injured Frank Thomas, and the man at the plate, Paul Konerko, 40 this year. There goes Podsednik. Varitek with the throw. Safe.
Podsednik probably had a few pitches to read him. Picked up his tendencies a little bit.
And really tough for Varitek here, too, when you got a big cleanup hitter on the third base side of that box, isn't it?
Yeah, it wasn't a bad throw, just a little high, but he got a great jump. I mean, I think Clement did not look at him a second time, and he took off. He could pick him up and put him down. I'll tell you that much. He definitely can run. You still have the double play in order here.
Runners at the corners now for Konerko on 0-1. Yeah, I'm looking out there. That shadow is probably got about another half inning. This may be it for at least ball in sun leaving pitcher's hand and ball in shadow at plate.
That is tough and tough to see. And then on top of that, with Clement's effectively wildness.
Haven't been out effectively wild thus far.
Ineffectively wild.
Yeah. Born to be wild. 2-1.
Now Konerko here just wants to keep the ball off the ground.
That's one thing that, Mike, the White Sox have been so good at all year long. They do not hit into a lot of ground ball double plays. What's the key to that? Do you look for something up? Look for something? Do you go the opposite field?
Yeah, I'm always trying to look opposite field here. Trying to recognize the pitch, not anticipate a certain pitch. Let the ball travel, not try to pull the ball.
That ball is traveling down the left field line. Just foul.
Wow. A 2-1 count, and he was ready for it. 2-1 count. Paul just sat back and just a little quick.
Here's the bench. Get out, stay fair. See, nobody waved it like fist. That they have to
watch
fist
the hitter.
Right?
Watch the hitter, not
he'll
the
let
ball.
you know.
Carlton Fisk, such a standout for these two teams. Hall of Famer. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Runners at the corners here in the bottom of the first. Chopped. Fair ball. Miller goes to second to Graffinino to get 1 out, but Podsednik scores and the White Sox are on the board. Working with us today, down on the field and in the stands, is Aaron Andrews. Aaron?
Well, Boomer, you can really tell these Chicago White Sox are underdogs, can't you? Well, that's what they're playing with, the no-respect mentality. Ozzie Guillen says we are underdogs. He said we've been in first place for much of this whole thing, but you haven't even noticed because when you are the White Sox, you have to accomplish something or you're not going to be in the spotlight. Scott Podsednik echoing that comment, saying, hey, we've been playing with a chip on our shoulder all season long. Why change now?
Carl Everett. Thank you, Aaron. Carl Everett, the batter, and Ozzie would know. He played so well for the White Sox for 13 years. Matter of fact, was on one of those teams that got to the postseason in 1993.
It seems like their attitude is the same as Boston last year. They really feel like they do have something to prove.
I think that comes too with confidence, don't you?
Yes.
I mean, they won 99 games this year. I mean, they dominated their division, and when things started to get away from them, they had to pick it up, and Ozzie Guillen's team was able to do that.
Played very well the last week of the season.
Everett rips this to right. Nixon will let it bounce in front of him. And Konerko stops at second base, so Everett hammering that one. With everything going on the base paths, it's hard to remember that's the first hit of the game for the White Sox.
And watch Carl Everett here all over the dish. And Carl just crowds the dish and dares you to come in there. Quick bat. That was a little bit away, and he actually raked the ball to right field. Pulled that ball.
You talked earlier about the adrenaline, and you know, players have the ability to slow it down. Some don't. To me, right now, the problem for Matt Clement, he's overthrowing. He's normally got a good sinking fastball. He's not thrown one yet that has had any tilt to it. That's the reason the balls are being hit in the air.
2 out, 2 on, and the number 6 hitter for the White Sox, the center fielder Aaron Rowand. Pride of Cal State Fullerton up. Rowand can hit long ball, although this year had 13 to his 24 that he had the year before. That misses.
You can't forget the play that Billy Miller made there on the ground ball that was hit by Konerko. If he takes the easy route and goes to first, that base hit by Carl Everett would have been another run for the White Sox. Now I think this would be a huge break for Boston if Clement can get out of this with just 1 run.
Miller, one of the best fielding Red Sox, without a question. Gets overlooked all the time for his defense.
Solid citizen. Great guy to have on your team.
150 games this year, Boomer, and only 11 errors for Billy Miller. And that's a difficult infield that he has in Boston to deal with.
Another thought on Miller. I just have a hunch he's going to have a big series. You know why? Because he's at third, and the first base umpire and the umpiring crew is Bill Miller. I just think there's some karma there. There's some analysis for you, all right?
Well, we're going to do a little analysis right here with pitching coach Dave Wallace coming to the mound. And he's taking as much time as he possibly can because what he wants to do is for Matt Clement to slow things down right now. What does Varitek talk to Clement about now, Mike?
Well, Johnny Roseborough, my first catcher coach, told me when you're in this situation, you just want to go out. He said, let the breeze blow a little bit. Try to settle him down, calm him down. And, you know, change his mechanics. He's obviously reaching for the ball. He's not letting himself, his ability, he's not letting his body deliver the pitch. He's trying to force the pitch. Same thing with hitting. They're very similar. You have to sit back and trust your ability.
If you could just keep that same tension on the baseball or on the bat, you give yourself a chance.
Swung through that one ahead of it, so Clement there with the strike, 2-1.
And if I were him right now, Boomer, I'd just give up on that fastball. I mean, he's not able to command it. He's hit a couple of guys. His slider is as good as there is in the big leagues. He got one near the strike zone there. I think you just got to stick with that pitch. And if you're Aaron Rowand, I mean, you got to know that as well.
Right there, as you said, with the fastball, just cannot locate that pitch. And the slider's got a definite better feel for that pitch right now. When he's ahead, can add on it. When he's behind, he can subtract a little bit.
And you can see the start that Clement had. It's one of the reasons he was an all-star pitcher. Since the middle of the season, not the same success. And Rowand wanted ball 4, but instead we have a full count with 2 on and 2 out, and that means the whirlybird start.
There's going to be a consistent strike zone with John Hirschbeck, but it's going to be bigger than most, is it not, Mike?
Oh, no question about it. I mean, he wants you to swing the bat. That was a strike. I mean, it wasn't the prettiest strike, but as you said, Varitek was away. Ball traveled back to the inside corner. It did get a lot of the plate.
Big situation here early in the game, very early.
I think he's got to throw a slider here, Boomer. I mean, that's been the only pitch that he's really had success with and been able to get anywhere near what he wanted.
Everybody moving. Ball flared into left center field. Konerko will score. Everett to third. Rowand delivers. 2-0 Pale Hose.
Great call on the pitch here, Rick. Slider down. Did not try to do too much with it. Just put the bat on the ball.
You mentioned
piece of contact.
Mike, that it was down. Another thing that was down was his arm angle. And when he drops down, it's almost like you're telling the hitter it's not going to be a fastball.
Yes.
That was a nice piece of hitting there. He stayed back.
Great 2-strike hitting. Great 2-strike hitting right there.
Now A.J. Pierzynski. In the postseason a couple of times with the Minnesota Twins. Now has a chance with the White Sox. Once at foul. Pierzynski last year with the Giants, so they were playing pressure ball, but they didn't get in. So he's one of these White Sox that gets what this atmosphere is. Nothing, huh?
I was again, Boomer, giving him a lot of credit too for the job that he has done handling the pitching staff. He reminds Contreras to work faster. He talks to John Garland about pitching in. He talks to Freddie Garcia about using all of his pitches, and you know what? They have performed.
Hits this one to left center field. Back it goes. Back. Gone! Boy, what a first inning here for the White Sox. A 5-spot against Matt Clement in Boston. You wouldn't know that Chicago hit more homers than Boston. Just one more. That was a big home run by Pierzynski.
Boomer, they come in on a roll. They won their last 5 regular season games. They swept the Cleveland Indians in Cleveland, and they keep that momentum going here in game 1.
Beautiful swing right here. As I said, didn't try to pull the ball inside out. Put some nice leverage on that pitch. Drove it out the other way. We're talking about his catching. He could still hit pretty well.
You know what? So much for the shadows bothering the White Sox.
I know.
Wow. Joe Creedy, the 8th man to the plate here, has looked at 2 balls from Clement. So Pierzynski, who had 18 homers during the season. Boy, that was a tattoo. About 385 the opposite way.
How about that? You hit a big home run, you got to slap the tools back on and get back out there and catch.
Never happened to you?
No,
No. Only 397 times?
I want to stand around and look for the red light on the camera and kind of smile. Got to go back to work.
The men up high, 3-1. Well, we showed you the numbers. The last 5 starts for Matt Clement. 0-3 with an ERA of 7.20, and now you tack this on, and really it began with 2 hit-by pitches. Varitek sheds the mask. Boy, that's up there for a long time. Creedy pops out, but what a first inning for the Chicago White Sox. 5-0 after 1.
2 outs in the inning. And there's strike 2 on the bomber. What an epic battle we're witnessing. He digs back in. No, wait. What's he doing? The bomber is calling his shot.
I'm all over that.
He's pointing beyond the outfield fence.
Yeah, buddy.
Are we witnessing history? And there it goes!
Bud Light. Great taste. Great times.
What drives a man to such greatness?
Bud Light, Bud Light, Bud Light. Ooh, and a hot dog.
Patties, cheese, lettuce, tomato.
Extra pickles.
Real juicy. Lots of cheese and tomato.
Double with bacon.
Banana in the town.
The works. Double extra cheese.
That's me.
Triple beef.
Ketchup, mustard.
The Triple H burger.
Hamburger. Whose burger?
The Dave burger.
The Johnny burger.
My burger.
Absolutely.
Guys, this is a Silverado half-ton crew.
It has more horsepower and torque than Ford or Dodge. Paper flowers? Tin cans? Come on. I love weddings.
Chevy Silverado, an American revolution.
I'm not a computer person. I'm a people person. But people are complex. 2,000 diseases have the same 3 symptoms. For me to help, I've got to know things like test results, charts, histories. So, I have this computer. It tells me everything I need to know, and I carry it everywhere. So I guess that makes me a computer person.
Start something caring. Start anything you like with a world of software and devices that run on Windows.
Built strong. Built comfortable. Built right. Wrangler 5-star premium denim jeans. Wrangler. Real, comfortable jeans.
You gelling? No telling how much I'm gelling. You gelling? I'm like mud gelling. I'm so gelling. Quit yelling. We're gelling. Right.
Dr. Scholl's massaging gel insoles are so soft, they make any shoe feel outrageously comfortable. Are you gelling? Dr. Scholl's.
5-run first for the Chicago White Sox on this summer-type day. Temperatures mid-80s, humid. And A.J. Pierzynski hit a long opposite field home run. The White Sox scoring 4 of their 5 runs with 2 outs. And this crowd electric as Trot, Nixon, Jason Varitek, and Kevin Millar try to chip away at José Contreras. We told you Clement has had the trouble in the second half of the season. Not the case for Contreras. Every number you want to look at shows that he's just been almost automatic, hence the game 1 start. But here come the Red Sox. Scored the most runs in baseball, over 900 once again. We don't think they're going to say, okay, 5 runs, we're out of here. Not quite. Nixon begins with a base hit.
You know, Boom, I just don't think you can give Scott Podsednik enough credit for what happened in that first inning. Mike, he got on after the first couple of pitches. Now Matt Clement had to go to the stretch. He held the ball and held the ball, trying to, interrupt the timing and the jump of Podsednik. And the next thing you know, he just never could find command of that fastball.
Yeah, we were saying before, I think you really need to just kind of throw that run away and try to find, especially this early in the game, find that rhythm, find that release point that you're looking for. And, concede a run early, especially with these 2 teams.
So here's the captain, Jason Varitek. In there for a strike is Contreras. Again, his last loss, August 15th.
What's your philosophy, Rick, when you have a 5-run lead, top of the second inning?
You still have to use all of your pitches. To me, it doesn't change that pitch selection at all. It's just that you work on the plate rather than trying to work to a corner or off of it.
And I think there's two types of teams. There's a team that's going to try to swing their way back into the game, and a team that's going to try and walk their way back into the game, get base runners.
Contreras quickly ahead of Varitek, 0-2.
And I think Boston's a little of both.
Yeah.
So it's not as easy as people think. You have a 5-run lead. It's top of the second.
You know, we've talked about Boston's offense all year long. The third year in a row, they've led the majors in runs scored. But the Chicago White Sox this year, Boomer, actually hit more home runs than they did. 3 more home runs. Not near as many runs scored. But, of course, like you said, Mike, Boston had a lot more base on balls.
Well, the White Sox and there, Varitek didn't like that. And of course, he'll be. It's tough when you're a catcher and you're batting, right, Mike? And you want to go back and say something to the ump, but then you need him the next half inning.
Yeah, absolutely. This looked like a high fork ball, almost like a knuckleball type of pitch. He really, as we said earlier, he jams that ball in his hands, gets a knuckleball type action. It's not a true split-fingered fastball. It's more of a fork ball, which I believe Suter threw or pioneered that pitch.
And Ozzie Guillen talking before the game, he thinks the real key is the fact that Contreras, when he was with the Yankees, when he struggled against Boston, he was tipping his pitches.
That goes on a lot more than you think.
Oh, yeah.
Especially when you know a guy has a nasty pitch. If you know it's coming, then you could eliminate that. Or if it's down right away, you could just spin on it, and then it plays mentally on the pitcher because he's like, wow, I threw a 2-strike nasty split in the dirt, and the guy just looked at it. What's going on? So you get that sort of...
You know something's up.
Yeah, exactly.
How did he not offer? I mean, you could tell by the way he would take that pitch.
Kevin Millar looks at 0-1 away, bounces away from Pierzynski, but Nixon will stay put. You say, okay, so Olerud, such a good hitter and such a tough forkball and stuff to hit. Why isn't the lefty in there today? And with Burley, the lefty, why wouldn't Millar go to It's going to be backwards for Boston because Kevin Millar, 6 for 14 with 2 homers against Contreras.
It's the old computer, got him.
No question.
Expect to see Olerud start tomorrow, as we said, lefty versus lefty. I don't care if you hit from both sides of the plate at the same time. That's a tough pitch to hit.
Nope, absolutely.
He's really come around. He looks so much more comfortable, Mike, here than what he was in New York. And you think about, the guy came from Cuba to all of a sudden now, with the New York Yankees, it's a difficult adjustment. He really feels at home here with the White Sox.
Way to Millar, holds off that one, 2-2.
You'll see, especially in these, when he's ahead in the count, these even counts 2-2, expanding the strike zone. And especially with that split, or the forkball, you want downward action on that pitch. You don't want that pitch to kind of stay in the strike zone.
Plus the fact he throws 97.
Yeah, that's firm.
He rings him up. And Millar will have a word with John Hirschbeck.
Mike, that strike zone is going to stay big all afternoon. Both teams knew it, though, coming into the game.
That looked like a 2-seamer. Actually turned the ball over a little bit. Had a little sink on it.
94 with movement.
Yeah.
That's a great arm. He's always had great stuff.
Now Bill Miller, who has had success. Most of these Red Sox have had success against Contreras in his life, primarily as a New York Yankee. Contreras against Boston, if you want to look it up, 2-4, an ERA of over 11. That's some other years, but feel good about it, but they're looking up at a big deficit, 5-0. They're looking also at a big guy out there on the mound. 6'4", 245, and Miller holds off.
Pierzynski's pretty much doing everything right now. I'd say he's got to be the front runner in our player of the game, huh? That's a great job there.
You to go out on a limb like that already?
All right, now, you know me. I've been known to change my opinion.
Yeah, nice block there. You see, turn the glove over, didn't get stiff. Try to get like a pillow. You know that ball's going to hurt, but you have to relax and not get tense, because you get tense, that ball's going to bounce off you.
Good eye there. Miller backing away of that. Nixon's at first. Miller can work his way on. You never know. You have to get 5 in a hurry. You to get something. And that'll be foul.
He's just such a good situational hitter, Billy Miller there, Mike. I mean, he had to count in his favor. He looked in and just pulled the ball down the line.
Yeah, you're trying to get something. You're trying to ignite the team. You're trying to get the offense going. Big hit, walk. We always have an expression in the dugout. Don't help him out. Don't help him out. Don't expand the strike zone. Allow him to make good pitches.
Crowd getting to its feet on the 2-2 pitch. Good eye again, Miller. Now the count full, so Nixon can be off on the pitch.
And too with Boston, I mean, there's a lot of game left. You know, they want to creep back into the game. You know, you're not going to get it back with one swing. You get a run here, a run there, keep them close.
And even if they don't score in this inning right here, if they can get his pitch count up to around 30, he's not going to throw a complete game.
They'll force the hand.
Little chopper handled by Gucci over to Konerko, and no goes the Red Sox. So they strand one heading to the bottom of the second. 5-0 Chicago.
Class of '94. Here I come.
When you want to make a good impression, Enterprise Rent-A-Car will pick you up free and get you going in style.
Looking good, Moose.
Pick Enterprise. We'll pick you up.
Hey, what is that?
Club soda.
But, what's that?
ING? They're the financial services company that's all about fresh thinking. They're full of new ideas, so you're ready for whatever comes along.
ING, proud sponsor of the ING New York City Marathon and runners everywhere.
What the world needs now is sweet love. It's the only thing that there's just.
Your call will be answered in 30 minutes.
My car ready yet?
Whatever happened to customer service? At DHL, it's alive and well.
I'm on it.
Call us and see how we're changing the way the shipping business does business.
Search Monster every day, looking for the right candidates. But you can't be found unless you post your resume.
There is one conventional oil that totally defies convention. Mobile Clean 5000. The first oil enhanced with a high-endurance formula. The only one guaranteed to protect for 5,000 miles. Mobile Clean 5000. The oil that's changing oil.
Chris Berman, Rick Sutcliffe, Mike Piazza, Aaron Andrews with you here at U.S. Cellular Field in Chicago. The White Sox scored 5 times in the first swing, and at the first pitch, Juan Uribe. Good hitting shortstop. And it's handled by Graffinino at second base. 1 pitch, 1 down, and that's a sigh of relief for Matt Clement.
Well, it is, but here comes the guy that started it all in the bottom of the first. Back to home plate again, Scott Podsednik.
First strike to Podsednik, hit by pitch, sacrificed over, stole up third, scored on a fielder's choice. That's innocuous. At the end of the inning, 4 2-out runs. To center field, Damon won't get it. Podsednik aboard. the second time. Down to Aaron Andrews. Aaron?
All right, guys, I'm here right now with the big hurt Frank Thomas. I know you'd love to be out there right now, and we'll get to your injury in just a minute, but put a 5 spot on the Boston Red Sox. Your thoughts about that?
That's great. Like I told people, this team went through a lot the last 2 weeks of the season. That builds character. They got hot at the right time, the end of the week, and rolled into the playoffs. And this time of the year is normally the hot team's going to win this thing.
There's a lot of talk about how Contreras would handle this first start. What do you think of him out there so far?
Oh, he's been great the whole second half. He's found a home here. He's more relaxed. He's always had that excellent stuff, but now he's put it all together, and he's happy, and he's comfortable, and he's pitching like he's capable.
A lot of people were wondering how the White Sox would handle the pressure because they haven't had experience like the Red Sox. You've been in the playoffs before. What have you told some of these guys?
Well, you know, with Ozzie, he's made things so loose with this team all year long, and it's been a total team effort. From day one, it's been all about the team. So these guys have really put it together and played as a team, as a unit all year, and that's why we had the success we've had.
You missed a great part of this season with that ankle injury. You got a cast on right now. Can you give us an update on what's going on with you?
Right now, everything looks great. The x-rays look wonderful. I'm probably 2-3 weeks from getting out of the cast and start my rehabilitation, and that's going to be key for me. But I'm going to be here with this team, and we'll help Will through the end here. Hopefully we can get a World Series championship this year.
You threw out the first pitch. Ozzie was wondering how would you rate yourself?
That was pretty good, a little high. But that's the most nervous I've been in a long time. I thought getting hit was a lot of nerve-wracking thing, but throwing out the first pitch was great.
Hey, take care of yourself. Thank you.
It's a pleasure, Aaron. Thank you.
Guys.
Aaron, Frank, thank you very much. Well, maybe if they have bullpen problems, Frank can work out of there, huh? He wants to play next year.
You know, he was telling both of us that before the game. I mean, he's determined to come back, and boy, what an offensive player, Mike, he's been throughout his career.
Oh, just a force. Look at his size. Started swinging the bat with a lot of authority the last couple of years. Back the way he was.
Bluffing is Podsednik at first, and Gucci fouls it back.
That's what we were talking about earlier. I mean, just the speed of Podsednik at first base. I mean, Mike, what a great pitch that was for Gucci to take a swing at it.
Oh, right down the middle. Pulled up. Look at his expression.
He knew it.
I missed my cookie. That's what we always say. I don't think he's going to shut down the running game as well. You can't.
Gucci, kind of a defensive swing on the two-strike pitch. See what Ozzie's doing, who was a pretty good base stealer.
See what he's saying there? That's Clement's first move to home plate is with that shoulder. When he starts to close the shoulder, Ozzie's telling Podsednik that's what you look for. Don't look at his legs. Don't look at his hands. Watch that front shoulder. When it starts to close, that's when you take off.
Met will keep a look at Podsednik, who was second to Sean Figgins in stolen bases this year. He had 59 to Figgins' 62. He had the most stolen base of anybody last 2 years.
But, Boomer, I agree with what Mike's saying right now. Let him steal second base. You need to make some good pitches right here, or the next thing you know, you're going to get out of sync, you're going to make a mistake, and somebody's going to hit another 3-run homer.
There he goes. Varitek throw. It's a good one. Gone. Well, he just stood up and fired. And that was even a high throw, so that got down there in a hurry, Mike.
Well, if the ball got to home plate in a hurry, Mike, wouldn't it? It's a high fastball, pretty good pitch to handle.
Not the greatest jump in the world, but Jason right there just took his time, made a nice throw. See, not a lot of motion on Jason there. Let the ball travel. You can't go out and get the ball faster than the ball is going to come to you, and he stood back and used his legs and made a beautiful, beautiful throw to second.
You know what? Can you get in a base stealing slump? Yes, it's called late in the year and you're tired. 9 of his last 23, not including, and he's 1 for 2 today.
Well, sure. I mean, you know, it's like anything. It's any athletic movement, any pitch, anything. You have to be able to throw. Let it flow, and I think he's just a little mechanical right now. And as Ozzie was trying to get him going, you know, look at his sign. Every pitcher has a tell when he's going home and when he's going to first base. It could be the shoulder, it could be the back heel, it could be you know, his hips. Delano DeShields told me he used to look at the guy's rear end every time he looked at you know, in a certain movement, and we'd be coming to first and obviously going to home. So he's got to get back to that sign that helps him.
Ball hit well by Gucci, and Damon sliding makes the grab. And Clement survives inning number 2. We played 2 here in Chicago. 5-0 White Sox.
With my credit,
I never thought I'd qualify for a new computer. But with Blue Hippo, all I need is a home phone and a checking account, and approval is guaranteed.
We're talking to people who've discovered Blue Hippo Funding's Guaranteed Approval Program. It doesn't matter if you have bad credit or no credit, because we don't check your credit. Your approval is guaranteed with just an active checking account.
I started my own home business, something I never could have done without a computer.
And if you call in the next 10 minutes, we'll include a multifunction printer, scanner, copier with your order. A $250 value, absolutely free. And we'll also include a brand new digital camera, absolutely free. That's over $500 worth of computer accessories, all for free when you call in the next 10 minutes.
I don't know why anyone wouldn't take advantage of this. It's a great offer.
Mom, can I go on the computer now?
Just a minute.
This is your chance to get a brand new, brand name computer from Blue Hippo, regardless of your credit. And by calling and ordering now, you'll receive this digital camera and this multifunction printer, scanner, copier for free. But you must call.
We were the ones that always lost, and we were the ones who could explain losing. We don't know how to explain winning. What are we going to say this year? This is the year they repeat?
We're huge Red Sox fans.
We're the biggest fans. It's definitely an integral part of our sisterhood. It's exhausting.
Draining.
The Red Sox are in our blood. You know it, I know it.
It's a complete addiction.
I live for this.
October, 8 teams, 1 champion. Watch the World Series. Don't miss it.
So the Dodgers are down to their last out, game 1 of the World Series. And look who's coming up. Kirk Gibson with 2 bad legs. You talk about a roll of the dice. This is it. High fly ball into right field. She is gone.
With 100% whole grain, low fat, and fiber, the Breakfast of Champions brings out the champion in you.
The impossible has happened.
ESPN's Major League Baseball Division Series is presented by Budweiser. Bright, crisp, clean, pure, the king of beers. And in part by Wendy's. Do great taste at a low price. Do Wendy's. Do what tastes right. And Chevy. Chevy and baseball, they just go together. An American revolution.
5-0, the White Sox lead the Red Sox here as we head to the top of the 3rd on a summer-like day in Chicago. Tony Graffinino, Johnny Damon, Edgar Renteria. And we should say to those celebrating the Jewish New Year, Happy New Year to everybody. Happy Rosh Hashanah. Tony Graffinino, the number 9 batter. Big pickup in the middle of the season like night and day from Kansas City to Boston. Has been in the postseason earlier on in his career in Atlanta. And
Tony's just a gutsy guy.
And hits this well down the line, and that's fair. But Podsednik will go over to get it, but Graffinino with a stand-up double, and Boston perhaps in business. Johnny Damon and A.J. Pierzynski, high school teammates in Orlando. You know they got something riding on this series.
He's the same guy, you know. He's real smug. Very misunderstood, you know. I love him to death. He lives in the same neighborhood that I live in, and you know, whoever loses this series, we're going to have the other person get their house set up for the winner. So a bunch of sodas, load up the refrigerator with beers, just kind of a small bit.
Sounds like a good party.
Sounds like a good neighborhood. Yeah. Stock my fridge with beers anytime you want.
So now Damon trying to do something about the party. But Contreras with other ideas is ahead 0-2.
I think it's real important here. I mean, Boston has to chip away at this lead. They could squeeze this run across. Try to give him a little bit of momentum. Contreras keeps throwing those pitches, though. It's going to be tough.
And he just gets the bat there. You know, Johnny doing a lot of just one arm swinging with the shoulder injuries he's had. Although he says, hey, I kind of do more of that than you think. But it looks like a power backhand sometimes.
It's been a tough year, Boomer, for Johnny Damon. He's had stitches in his eye. He's had them in his elbow, leg problems, shoulder problems, as you mentioned. But he's as healthy now as he's been in a while.
Punched out by Hirschbeck. And speaking of Damon and Pierzynski, I wonder what Pierzynski was saying, okay, Johnny, you're a small ball player. I'm going to come up in the first inning, and I'm going to surprise you, and I'm going to bunt. Hey, guys, supposing that bunt was fair, we never would have had this.
It just tells you how good offensively that A.J. Pierzynski can be and has been. He's a 290 career hitter. His average was down a little bit this year, but his power numbers were up during the regular season.
Maybe it was by design. He was just setting a trap. You never know.
Yeah, that's why, Mike, I marvel at what the White Sox have done this year. When, with A.J. in San Francisco, they talked about, he didn't have the right attitude. When you look at the lineup, Podsednik, 9 years at the minor league level. Aguchi for Ozzie Guillen, his first year, playing over here in the States. Jermaine Dye, is he going to be healthy? Konerko, he got off to a slow start this year. Carl Everett.
Renteria lofts one to short right field. That's Jermaine Dye with 2 outs, and Graffinino back to second. The Red Sox have had a runner every inning, but they've just stood right there. So David Ortiz up.
And kind of what you were saying too, Rick. I mean, I hate that word chemistry. It's so overused. It's such a cliche in sports today. But the bottom line is, if you're comfortable and you're happy where you're working and you have good relationship with the guys and you have fun and you're able to eat, and it makes the workplace more productive, and just like any business, and especially on a team.
And going into that clubhouse today, as we all did before the game, what a great coaching staff Ozzie Guillen has put together to communicate with players. Joey Cora with some of the young Latin players. Harold Baines, one of the best guys on earth. Don Cooper, the pitching staff raves about him. And, Harold Baines, I mean, that guy's a winner.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a terrific hitter, a terrific player. And, there's a lot of young players that can go to him for help.
Tim Raines, Greg Walker, they're all White Sox. They all are vestiges of good times in the past. They've been on teams that got the postseason. White Sox don't make it often.
Coaching staff is very important.
Ortiz, with the shift, it's going to make it tough, and Uribe can't handle it. With that shift, as good an arm as Uribe had, he knew he had to hustle, would have had to turn. And what did you say, Mike? Huh?
That's what I was saying. I mean, the shift, obviously important. You have the tendencies on the hitters, but you get a regular ground ball to shortstop off the end of the bat, and look where he has to go to run to catch his ball. All the way across the field, and then throw across his body to first base. So even with David Ortiz running, it's still a tough play. He's playing a regular position or even a shaded position. He can come straight in on that ball and make that play.
And this for Boston Boomer is so good offensively. Now look at who's at home plate. Yeah. I mean, one mistake from Contreras, and the next thing you know, Boston could be right back in this.
A bunch of homers the last week and a half for Manny Ramirez. 3 the last 2 games over the weekend against the Yankees. 2 on, 2 out. Red Sox trail 5-0, but here's Ramirez. Broken bat. Creedy over to Aguchi, and they get Ortiz, and so much for that rally. Contreras stymies the Red Sox again, 5-0.
For all the best in wireless, it's Radio Shack. The best brands, carriers, and plans for every budget. Come see for yourself now during our Best of the Best wireless sale. Buy a new Sprint PCS phone A840 by Samsung with built-in digital camera for just $59.99 and get one free after $50 Sprint mail-in rebate with new 2-year Sprint subscriber agreement on each. Come see why our sales associates are #1 in wireless customer satisfaction and why we sell more wireless phones than any other consumer electronics retailer at Radio Shack.
Spicy. Excuse me? Want something spicy? Taco Bell is open late. Feed your need for all the spicy, grilled, marinated, crunchy, and melty taste you can only get at Taco Bell. Want to spice up the night? Think outside the bun. Open till midnight or later.
Back in Chicago, it's 5-0 White Sox, bottom of the third, and graciously joining us, the manager of the world champion Boston Red Sox, Terry Francona. Tito, now how do you gauge Clement? Any more rope for him at this point in a 5-0 game?
Well, I think we got to give him some rope. I mean, the last thing we want to do is go through our whole bullpen on game 1 he's got the stuff to kind of gather himself. I mean, we don't want to let them extend this lead much, but the best thing we can do is have him find himself and get it right, and then we can start using our bullpen to try to win the game, not just to get through innings.
Terry, has your hitters been talking at all about the shadows with the fork ball of Contreras? How difficult is it to see right now?
Yeah, I've asked a couple of the guys, and they don't seem to think it's as much of an issue. I mean, I can't see it from in here. When the ball is hit, I'm losing it, but they don't seem. He's made some good pitches. I don't think it's so much a shadow right now.
Do you think that you've seen something in Contreras that makes you think that maybe you worked some pitch counts, which Manny didn't do, that you can hack away at him?
You know what, Boomer? He's seen fastball and then a split, and he's seen both of them, and he's a smart enough hitter. He just hasn't hit them. What I've seen enough is in our team that we'll keep playing.
We know that. We've all seen it. Thanks, Terry.
All right, guys.
Very gracious, just a good fellow, whether he's up or down, and make no mistake about it. I know, okay, for 5 months of the season, it was a party in Boston. They finally won. I mean, they're in first place, etc. But this was a 162-game grind, and he said he had about 12 hours to enjoy the whole season, you know, not getting in until he actually had 4 innings. The Cleveland score with the White Sox actually did them the favor, was a final with about, 4 innings to go in the Yankee game. And he said he didn't know how to act, right? We were talking to him before the game. He says, like somebody kicked him in the stomach and said, hey, relax, will you? Enjoy the hour. Tough.
And that demeanor, that attitude comes across on the team. He's not in panic mode right now. He knows his team could come back.
Meanwhile, Matt Clement, you heard what he said about Clement.
He's got to give him innings.
Yep. Because look, the way it sets up, if it goes around the horn, that'll work again. You don't want to,
yes,
right?
Well, it's twofold. You want to continue to get these innings, these innings when you're behind, and you also want to give him something positive to go out on when he does come out of the game.
Because again, if it goes 5, that would be who they would see again. Plus, let's face it, as Jermaine Guy fouls it off, Boston's bullpen is not deep. It's not the kind where you got 5 or 6 guys that are, you know, they patchwork that all year.
Yeah, I think it's been their big problem all year long. Last year, particularly in the postseason, Keith Falk was so good, and they have basically been without him all year long. Mike Timlin now the closer, but then you take Timlin out of the setup role that he was so good at.
As good as a closer. Remember last year, Alan Embry was a key pitcher for them. Had trouble for really the 4 months in Boston. Now a member of the Yanks. Some other, you know, Schilling went back there. Now he's the starter. We'll see Schilling in Game 4. They're going with Jonathan Papelbon as almost the setup, or one of the 2 setup guys.
Boy, hearing them talk about Papelbon before the game, they have a lot of confidence in him, Boomer.
Dye lifts this way up in the air. Back goes Manny Ramirez in the sun, and he grabs it just in front of the track.
You know, Boomer, we've talked about Matt Clement being in the All-Star game, off to a great start for Boston, and what really turned his season around was in Tampa Bay. Mike, we remember this. Crawford's up, and I mean, that's just, oh, look how far that ball goes. And just, to me, remarkable as we look at Matt Clement being carried off the field after that ball game, that he's even back pitching right now.
Yeah, it shows a lot of guts, a lot of intestinal fortitude. Because invariably you're going to shy away from contact, and that's going to affect your mechanics. You're not going to be able to release the ball where you want to. You're not going to have that follow through. You're going to feel exposed, and it just takes a while to get over that anxiety.
And he's talked about it. He is going to change his mechanics over the winter. It's impossible to do during the season right now, but he finishes off to the side. That big leg kick, he's got a lot of power in those legs. He pushes off real hard, but it kind of leaves him open to anything that would be hit back up the middle again. And Boomer, I don't care who you are, it's going to change things.
1-1 to Paul Konerko, who drove in the first run with the fielder's choice. Just missed a 3-run home run earlier. You know, oddly enough for Clement, his season, I don't want to say went south, but it was not the same as the first half. Boston, starting that game, won 14 of 16. Oddly enough, how that they rallied at the time. That was their best hot streak of the season. Konerko, deep to left, back it goes. Didn't miss this one. Gone. We told you at the outset, like Big Papi and like Manny Ramirez, Konerko's had 2 straight seasons of 40-plus home runs. He almost hit one in his first at-bat. He hits one right there.
Paul here with just a nice short stroke. Head down on the ball. Just dropped the head of the bat on the ball. Didn't try to do too much. The first ground ball, I think he pulled over. He kind of rolled over the pitch a little bit. Learned a lesson on that one.
Oh, and Clement gets hit again, this time by Carl Everett. He recovers beautifully. Wow. Now everybody going to be out to take a look, including the trainer, including the skipper.
That was a
jump
great,
right on the ball.
That was a great play to throw him out right there, I'll tell you.
Here he is. You take a look at it now. I mean, look, there's nothing to protect himself. His glove, everything is off to the side. The ball hits him in the leg. He goes and gets it. But when he got done with the throw, Mike, he looked into the dugout as if, you know what, something seriously could be bothering him again.
What was the worst incident you guys were either involved with? Either Sut, you taking one, or Mike either hitting one or being behind the plate when you saw one?
Oh, well, boy. You know, I mean, they're all, anytime it involves anything from the neck up, Boomer, they're all scary. I mean, you never know how a guy is going to respond. And, you know, you mentioned the number, Clement, 10-2 before the All-Star break, finishing up with just 3 wins after that. There's no question that line drive did change things, and he's going to have to change his mechanics so that he can get away from that.
Seems to be okay.
And he says, I'm fine.
Yeah. As we were talking earlier about his release and being in a ready position, not only does it allow you to make better quality pitches, but also to field your position. And you, Rick, you know as well as anybody, if you can field your position, once you release the ball, you're an infielder.
And when you've got a guy like Clement, his out pitch, his best pitch is that sinking fastball. Boomer, he's going to get a lot of ground balls. You'd like to be in a position like a Maddox or a Hampton to be able to do something with it.
Aaron Rowand singled and was aboard A.J. Pierzynski's 3-run home run in the first inning.
Just watching that last pitch, Mike. I mean, that's not the normal finish of Matt Clement. Watch what happens as he throws it. He knows he leaves it there. Look at, see how he flinches right there?
Almost short-armed it a little bit.
Exactly.
Certainly can understand it.
Oh. Yes. And the swing side, as we were saying about having a lead now, is if you're Chicago, you can afford to be more aggressive. You can roll the dice. You can go ahead and try and pop one out of the ballpark because 3-2, 2-2 game, close game. Now they can just go ahead and go for the pump.
See Paul Konerko there. You know what? There's a dilemma in Cranston, Rhode Island right now, where his grandma lives. He was born in Rhode Island and moved to Connecticut. I mean, he ended up moving to Arizona at 11, but he's got about a dozen family members that were thrilled for him, but you got to think Cranston, Rhode Island, they happy for him, but all the Red Sox, and they're happy for him. That's grandma.
Blood is thicker than mud.
Yep.
I'm pulling for my boy, right?
You've known him a long time.
Yeah.
Came up as a Dodger with a can't miss, right? Like, we were talking about that. Hey, you're going to be the next Rookie of the Year. That's tough.
Yeah, they did. They put a lot of pressure on him and eventually traded him.
Wow, Rowand just hammers that, but Ramirez is there. Long ball by Paul Konerko, and the White Sox have made it a touchdown.
Coming up on SportsCenter, back to U.S. Cellular Field for more fallout following Game 1 of the Red Sox-White Sox series. Why the Angels have the edge over the Yankees, and should you drop your underperforming fantasy players? SportsCenter right after the game.
Sometimes the best performances are the ones you may not know about. Evergreen Investments.
steerable bi-xenon headlights. Just one of the 120 not-so-standard features available on the all-new German-engineered Passat. On the road of life, there are passengers and there are drivers.
More ASC-certified master technicians, the top mechanics in the country, use Valvoline more than any other oil in their own cars.
Kenny, come to bed.
Built strong. Built comfortable. Built right. Wrangler 5-star premium denim jeans. Wrangler, real, comfortable jeans.
You gelling? No telling how much I'm gelling. You gelling? I'm like mud gelling. I'm so gelling. Quit yelling. We're gelling. Right.
Dr. Scholl's massaging gel insoles are so soft, they make any shoe feel outrageously comfortable. Are you gelling? Dr. Scholl's.
It's a fun afternoon here for the Chicagoans. It's fundamentals out there in the bleachers. Look, this park is never going to be at the top of your list. It's the best park in the majors, but they have done a very good job the last few years of making it more fan-friendly, just better place to go watch a game. It's different than the park that opened up in 1991, the new Comiskey, replacing the old Comiskey Park, which is across the street. They actually kept the place where home plate was. You can walk over there, not see the plate, but it's in a little bit of pavement, and it's more fun. And boy, when the home team in the playoffs is leading 6-0, that you can play it in a garbage dump and everybody could have fun, right?
Yeah, this was the first of the new era stadiums, and a little bit of criticism on its design.
There's Trot Nixon for his second hit of the day. So Nixon gets on again. The Red Sox have had a runner or two every inning. But the long ball and short ball being done by the Chicago White Sox. Mike Piazza joining Rick Sutcliffe and yours truly, Chris Berman, Aaron Andrews on the field. And about the way Chicago came out smoking, huh?
I think a lot goes into what happened, though, going into this postseason, Boomer, when they had an opportunity to set their rotation up. You got your best pitcher the second half of the year, Contreras, on the mound. You got Burley going tomorrow, who has been dominant at home. You got Freddie Garcia going in Boston. He's been tremendous on the road.
Varitek with a bunt, and Creedy won't get it, and that ball's booted away, and Nixon has a chance to go to another base, as does Varitek. So the White Sox usually are not playing like that. They play very good defense, but a little bunt from the catcher, maybe down 6-0, surprised him, and now Boston may be in some business.
Mike, I think we're seeing some things out of respect for Contreras. We're seeing Manny Ramirez swinging at the first pitch, getting himself out, and with the called strikeout on Varitek in his last at bat, clearly overmatched, he says, you know what, I gotta try something different, and it worked.
Probably took a peek down there, just gave it a shot, rolled the dice, dropped one down there, and now you got a scoring situation here for Boston.
So runners at second and third, none out. Kevin Millar up. And Kevin, really for him, and the type of seasons he's had in Boston, had a power outage. 9 home runs. They don't need a home run here. Just a little bleeder. Get 2 on the board is what they're after as Contreras starts him off with a strike.
Well, Boomer, like you say, Millar's in here for one reason in that lineup. He's in here to hit. I mean, he's hit a couple of home runs off Contreras. If they get the lead, Boston, late in the game, you know that Olerud would come in then, but they want him to swing the bat.
Contreras right there throwing him two seamers on the inside part of the plate. As we try to say, is we try to speed him up a little bit, get him thinking on the inside, and now you can go ahead back away out of the strike zone. Chicago here obviously conceding a run. They need outs.
Away, and that one bounces to the screen, and scoring is Nixon. Over to third, Varitek. Now they got 910 runs during the regular season, and a lot of them came not that way, but they'll take it. Boston on the board.
Well, 0-2 pitch here out of the strike zone. Almost impossible to block. You really have to shift. You could just throw your glove at it and hope it sticks, but there's nothing really you can do on that pitch, Rick.
A little single, a bunt single, error, wild pitch, Boston on the board. Chop foul. 20 wild pitches, Contreras, this year. He and Freddie Garcia tied for the most in the league.
Well, just like what Mike said, there's nothing that a catcher could have done there. And the White Sox have been so good defensively all year. You know, a bunt single, they kick it, you put runners on base, you put pressure on the opposing team, and a couple of runs it looks like they're going to get already just on gifts.
Ball hit well to right field. Jermaine Dye not going to get it. Varitek scores. Millar went a long way the opposite way, and he's in with a double. 6-2.
After taking Mike those first 2 fastballs in, it's almost like Millar had a game plan all along. He's going to look for something away. He got something soft. He gets a little slider there. Pierzynski and Contreras not with the confidence to go with the fork ball. That was a great at bat by Kevin Millar.
No, you're right. He did not. He didn't sell out there. He had a plan, stayed with it. He said, "I'm looking for soft, something away." Threw him 2 firm fastballs in the inside part of the plate, and he still was not afraid to hit with 2 strikes.
Really, exactly. That was the first guy that we've really seen like that. He didn't go away from his game plan when he fell behind.
Interesting, the skipper out, not the pitching coach. Ozzie Guillen out to the mound to talk with Contreras. Of course, might have a better chance of actually talking, although Contreras is okay with English, but, you know, Ozzie's Spanish probably better than Contreras' English with Con Cooper, the pitching coach. That's just a guess.
I think you're correct.
Bill Miller up. Millar at second. 2 runs home. The Red Sox have actually out-hit Chicago 7-5, but they trail at 6-2.
Still no outs in this inning. Chicago needs some outs right here. So you could find yourself on the end of a very crooked number.
Miller did not offer in there for a strike with a one.
Ozzie talking before the game about, you know, no one thought that Contreras would be his #1 guy. And the thing that he constantly has to remind Contreras of is the fact that you've got to be aggressive. And for Contreras, Mike, that means to use his fastball, and that's what he did on that last pitch.
Hit hard by Miller, and they're going to try to get the lead runner, and they do it. Wow, Iguchi over to Creedy, and I think Millar was surprised as anyone.
Boomer, it's just really frustrating when, Mike, you can't run, you know. he does the right thing here. The ball was hit behind him. A great piece of hitting by Bill Miller. He's going as hard as he can go. He can't get there.
He still short hopped the throw, but saw that he didn't get a great jump off the bat. The ball was hit very firm. Great play to dig it out and tag him out. What are you doing?
Yeah, way to go, kind of.
I think he just saw that ball going past the third base into the...
With all the other things that have happened defensively this inning.
We'll take it. Tony Graffinino up. He said that he had postseason experience as a youngster with Bobby Cox and the Atlanta Braves. His last postseason appearance was here with the White Sox in 2000. Series that you and I did, Rick, and the White Sox were swept by the Seattle Mariners 3 straight.
I think the White Sox already have more runs in the first 3 innings than they did in those 3 games against Seattle. Offensively, they just were shut down by Lou Piniella's team.
Hey, Boston's impressing me here with their approach, as well as being aggressive. They could take pitches, but also put the ball in play and find those spots they need to.
Fouled away. Two runs home, a potential run cut down at the third. There's the Matt Clement. You know, he's got quite a experience on the mound. Long ball, the shot that he took. But you heard what Terry Francona said. We're going to pitch him. Check swing. And it certainly will be too slow to turn 2. Surprised they even tried it. So the lead runner is gone. Graffinito on a fielder's choice, and Aaron Andrews with some on the Red Sox pitcher. Aaron?
We're still trying to see what the trainers can tell us. They said they'll let us know shortly, but Matt Clement has been sitting with David Wells on the bench, just kind of laughing, joking around, having a good time. He did get up earlier when he came to the dugout. Looked like he was moving rather gingerly, but Wells asked him how he was doing, and he said he was doing okay. We'll let you know if there's any other news, guys.
Well, if you want to feel better, you sit next to David Wells,
Yeah.
I guess. That's, I don't know if he's quite the doctor that you need in this situation. But that certainly has the proverbial game face on. Meanwhile, Johnny Damon in there for a strike. You know, I go to something, and you guys were talking about the way Contreras is pitching. That we met with Ozzie Guillen before the game. And what did he talk about when we asked about Contreras? He's now a fastball pitcher with a forkball, rather than a forkball pitcher with a fastball when we first got him. And explain what that really means and what we're seeing out here today, guys.
Well, he's just not a two-pitch guy. And like Mike was talking about, he's using two different types of fastballs as well, but he's being aggressive, staying in the zone. They really haven't hit the ball hard this inning off of him. They've kicked it around a little bit, but he's got a chance to get out of here and still have a 4-run lead.
Damon ahead of that one, and he strikes out. So the Red Sox get a pair, but another high. Is that Minnie Minoso? Oh, they brought them all back here in Chicago.
Is your child protected for the future? Gerber, the baby people you've known since you were a baby, offers you a way to help with that protection through their grow-up plan for children. It's a $5,000 cash value insurance program that costs less than 11 cents a day. At age 21, that protection doubles to $10,000 with no increase in premiums. In addition to automatically doubling at age 21, the plan guarantees the right to $50,000 of insurance by age 28, regardless of health or occupation. So call now for your free information package. Any healthy child 12 and under is eligible. No medical exam necessary. Simply answer a few questions. As a special feature, your first month's premium is $1. The Gerber Life Grow Up Plan. One quick call today can help protect your child for tomorrow.
Call 1-800-554-9000. The information package is free. There's no obligation. Call 1-800-554-9000.
At Samuel Adams, we do 10,000 beer audits in the course of a year.
We test the temperature. We look at the color.
Bartenders think we're crazy.
They're just looking at the head, looking at everything, and I don't know what they're looking for.
We check the lines in the faucets, and we also go and check Sam Adams' keg dates downstairs. If it's not fresh, we buy it back.
When we have festivals here, we put out-of-code beer in the tank.
People try to throw a ball and dunk him in some old Sam Adams.
I'd rather put people into stale beer than stale beer into people.
Thanks for coming to the offsite. So how do we help our business run smarter?
We could use FedEx for all of our shipping. Overnight, ground, even the heavy stuff.
Okay. Thanks for coming.
Why make running your small business harder than it has to be?
Nicorette Fresh Mint is different. It's the first and only stop-smoking gum coated with a cool burst of mint flavor. In fact, consumers prefer the taste 2-to-1 over any stop-smoking gum. It tastes great and fights cravings fast. Nicorette Fresh Mint. Start chewing, start quitting.
ESPN's Major League Baseball Division Series, presented by Budweiser. Brought to you by Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Call 1-800-RENT-A-CAR. Pick Enterprise. We'll pick you up. And Wheaties, the breakfast of champions.
It's been a party thus far in Chicago. The Red Sox have pecked away with a couple of runs. But now here's the hitting star for the White Sox, the catcher A.J. Pierzynski, who in the first inning hit a 3-run homer to the left center field seats. Opposite way with 2 out. Took a 2-0 game, made it 5-0 against Matt Clement.
Well, if he's going to bunt, it's not a bad stunt. Ignite another rally.
Well, that doesn't look like a bunt to us. He rattles it down the right field line. Trot, Nixon over with it. Pierzynski into second. Homer now double for the catcher.
I could go the opposite field and I could pull the ball. Fastball cut a little bit towards the inside part of the plate. He's quick enough to get it in the corner.
It was almost, Mike, like he went up there on the first pitch just kind of looking at the way they were going to approach him.
Yeah.
He saw the first pitcher cut her in. He said, all right, that's what you want to do. I'll look for that pitch and try to hit it.
Yeah, he is locked in right now.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is.
When you can pull the ball, you hit the ball the other way.
Now here's the third baseman for the Chicago White Sox, and he talked to him before the game. Joe, 6 feet from the edge, Creedy. He said both the band and he appreciate the nickname. Trying to be modern here, Mike. I'm trying to keep up. Much more important than that. Ball squirts away from Varitek. He missed a couple of games, did Creedy, this last week, but with good reason. His wife gave birth to their second daughter. They live out on a farm in Missouri. He went home to be with her and got 2 young girls under the age of 2. I said, you're a real dad now. And he was all smiles talking about it. And now he gets to come back, and the team, lost sleep for a couple days, but they haven't lost since he's come back. So good luck all the way around for the Creedy family. Congratulations to them.
Hopefully his wife didn't put him on diaper patrol.
He'll be on it soon enough. Lofts it to right. Tagging is Pierzynski, bluffs. Nixon with a strong arm.
I think it all goes back, Boomer, the problems Matt Clement has had today with the very first hitter. After he hit Podsednik with that cut fastball there, he was just all over the place. He tried to get quick to home plate to keep Podsednik from stealing second base. He eventually stole third, and then Matt Clement just never able to settle in. I mean, Mike, you look at the glove of Jason Varitek, and it's constantly moving.
Yeah. It's almost like he's catching a knuckleballer today. A Wakefield.
Now that's Chad Bradford, a knuckle scraper from the right-hand side, a submariner. They've got one from each side. Bradford, the righty, Mike Myers, the lefty. Juan Uribe looks at a breaking ball in there for a strike.
You got to admire the toughness, though, of Clement. With what happened to him earlier in the year down in Tampa, a lot of people don't even come back from that. They're never the same. And then he gets drilled here earlier in the game and then still refuses to come out. But he's still struggling to command that fastball.
They having trouble.
And as Terry said, it's staying with him, keeping him in the game, trying to get some positive an outing from him that he can be at least go into the clubhouse with a little bit of positive energy there.
Well, when you look at how these teams were set up, 6 extra guys for the Boston Red Sox, which means you're going to have 1 less pitcher. Only 5 extra guys for the Chicago White Sox. Their bullpen's a lot deeper, but when you look at the rotation of Boston, the last thing you would expect is that you're going to need extra help in the bullpen.
Hit well by Uribe. Back it goes. Back. Gone! Another White Sox home run. There were about a half a dozen White Sox players who, when we asked, what guy that's, off the radar could come through in a big way for you, just about all of them said that guy hitting from the 9-hole, Uribe.
Juan Uribe here likes the ball close to him. Just blew open those hips, got that bat through the zone.
Once again, though, Varitek wanting the fastball up and then off the plate, and Clement not able to get it there. And activity in the Boston bullpen right now. You don't know how much longer Terry Francona is going to stick with his starter.
So those 2 runs that Boston got to make it 6-2, now 8-2, and the answer is no longer. Here comes Francona, and a rough outing for a very game pitcher in Matt Clement. But he gave up a 3-run, a 2-run, and a solo home run. And the White Sox have the hitting shoes on. Clement is gone here in the 4th. So was that ball hit by Uribe. 8-2.
At Samuel Adams, we thought we could make a better light beer than anybody else.
Our standard was a light beer without any sacrifice to flavor.
After 2 years and a wagon load of trials, we finally made a full-bodied, flavorful light beer.
When people first tasted it, they had trouble believing it was a light beer.
Sam Adams Light reaches a level of flavor that light beer has never gotten to before.
Yeah, who do you love?
There's a certain team in Senior Division B, the Exiles. They're young, fast, and undefeated. On Sunday, they will lose because we've taped all their plays. We've downloaded all their games. We've even trained with obscure Brazilian drill software. It's our heads versus their feet. And on Sunday, we'll win. I guarantee you.
Start something victorious. Start anything you like with a world of software and devices that run on Windows.
Around by Pierzynski, by Konerko, by Uribe, and Matt Clement is gone here in the fourth. And any pitcher would like to tie a record set by Roger Clemens. This isn't one of them. Most runs allowed in a postseason start, 8. Roger in one of his starts in 1986 against the Angels. So Matt Clement, there'll be better days, and if it goes 5, he'll probably be out there.
You know, and Boomer, not his first postseason experience, though. He was in the playoffs back in 03 with the Cubs. He lost in a divisional series. In that game, he was just wild. He walked a lot of people, but he came back and he beat the Florida Marlins in the league championship series. To me, the ironic part, he gave up all those runs, and Mike, like you said during the break, he didn't walk anybody.
No, you don't figure him giving up this amount of runs and not having a few walks wrapped in there. But it's evident that Chicago's approach today offensively was just to shrink the strike zone.
Yep.
And they took some pitches, but, you know, they also got pitches to hit.
Well, he hit 2 batters, so that's like a walk.
Right off the
Here's
bat.
Chad Bradford in with and the pitch is going to come kind of, well, not both directions, but here's another one where, right, if you're behind the plate, it's oh boy.
Yeah. No, it's a tough day today for Jason. He's working his tail off. And these guys always give me fits. I really have problems with some Marine guys.
Wished I'd have known that.
He would have dropped down. Well, you know, as a hitter, you want to swing at the ball, not the motion. But traditionally, these guys, balls a lot of sink to it. They try to get pitches are real soft. And you'll see the body come across and you flinch at it a little bit and get out of your game as a hitter.
Bradford gloves it. Podsednik retired. 2 outs here in the White Sox fourth. Here's a look.
Just what I was saying. Watch this release point. It's almost like softball. Podsednik pulls off that pitch, hits it off the end of the bat.
Reminds me of some of the great closers, the Dan Quisenberrys, the Kent Tekulves, guys down in that angle, just so deceptive.
And of course, easier said than done. Everyone's swing at the ball, not the motion. When you have someone 6'2", 6'3", jumping at you from the mound, and the ball's just disappearing, almost deceptively coming out of his uniform somewhere.
Boston can do that from both sides of the mound.
Yep.
Mike Myers down there.
A lot of scraped knuckles that the trainer has to deal with, though, doesn't he? Bradford came over in the middle of the season in a trade with Oakland for Jay Payton. Gucci. 0 for 2, but made a strong throw to third behind Millar that, you know, in an 8-2 game at this moment, you can overlook it, but gambled and won.
It killed some momentum for Boston.
Gucci, a star in the Japanese leagues, 3-time Gold Glover over in Japan, a 4-time All-Star over there, 30-year-old rookie. And really opened up eyes here in Chicago. He's more than he's ever played in Japan. It's not like they only play 100 games, but by going now into the postseason, they They don't play 170-odd games over in Japan, so keep an eye on him.
He's going to get some votes for the American League Rookie of the Year. I kind of feel like Hudson Street out in Oakland will probably win that award. The last Rookie of the Year for the Chicago White Sox, their skipper, Ozzie Guillen.
Still young.
You know, if he could just relax a little bit, Ozzie.
He's still
have
young.
a little fun.
Don't be so stoic.
I mean,
old school.
It's interesting who you learn from. And Gucci learned that Bradford's going to strike him out. So Bradford comes in and quells the rally, but 2 more home for the White Sox. 8-2.
It's the new book from ESPN's Bill Simmons, Now I Can Die in Peace, available in bookstores everywhere.
So what's different about Budweiser Select? Good question. First, we start with a blend of the finest hand-selected North American and Bavarian hop varieties picked straight from the vine. Then we take the time to brew Budweiser Select longer. So you get a beer with light beer stats and a distinct bold taste that finishes clean. So why settle for anything less? Be selected.
Movies, music, games, TV. Every day, Verizon Broadband, the world's most advanced network, delivers a fresh edition of the accumulated wit and wisdom of the known universe. It's more than news. It's illuminating.
Say how do you do to the meat-normous omelet sandwich. Meat on top of meat on top of meat. The new meat-normous. Wake up with the king.
Search Monster every day looking for the right candidates. But you can't be found unless you post your resume.
Log on to MLB.com to follow baseball live on the web with MLB.com's real-time stats, game day audio, and MLB.tv. MLB.com, where baseball is always on.
Back in Chicago, José Contreras with an 8-2 lead for the White Sox as we hit the top of the 5th. 2-3-4 for Boston. Edgar Renteria, Big Papi David Ortiz, and Manny Ramirez. An uphill climb, to say the least, at this point. So within 4, and a man in scoring position, cut down. Then Uribe's home run now regains the 6-run lead for Chicago. Meanwhile, José Contreras, lifetime has struggled against Boston, but I don't know that he had 8 runs to work with through 4 innings that often either.
He's just a completely different guy than the guy that struggled in the past. He's so much more aggressive with that fastball in the strike zone, and then when he gets ahead, he gets 2 strikes, he starts thinking about that strikeout. And Mike, with that forkball he's got, with the good slider, he's got a lot of ways to go about getting it.
And as Ozzie Guillen was saying before about him establishing his fastball to make his forkball better, because sometimes there's a tendency you want to take the path of least resistance, and it really is work to establish 2-3 quality pitches.
Renteria hits it sharply, but Gucci over to Konerko, 1 down in the Boston 5th.
I'm really impressed with the amount of two-seam fastballs he's throwing. You mentioned earlier, Mike, he was a guy that was afraid of contact. And the two-seam fastball to me has always been like a surrender pitch. I'm not surrendering the fact that you're going to get a hit, but I'm surrendering this at bat. I'm not throwing you another pitch. I'm going to throw a sinker, and if I get that late movement to it, you're going to hit it on the ground somewhere, and the at-bat will be over with. I can get deep into the game.
So now here with nobody on, here's the even more exaggerated shift. With a runner on before, we saw the shortstop Uribe right behind second, but now Uribe's on the outfield grass. So is the second baseman Gucci. Konerko almost on the grass. Now, we saw David Ortiz lay a bunt down at a game that we did on Wednesday down the left field. Try to hit it down the line.
If he could bunt at all, look at that gap between shortstop where the third baseman is now. I mean, look at that. Drive a truck through there.
I mean, Creedy's past the shortstop position. Yeah, but I guess, well, I mean, at this point, a homer and a bunt are about the same thing from Ortiz's angle. They're down. They need runs, not home runs, not with nobody on. He's just been frustrated there.
That's unhittable right there. That's like a left-handed Steve Carlton slider.
You know, we did a game early June in which Contreras pitched against the Angels, and he's working faster even than then. I mean, I'm not only going back when he first came up with anybody on base, he was slow, wasn't he, with the Yanks, but he's working quicker even in the last couple months when we saw him last in person.
And that's a strategy by pitchers. I mean, don't let the hitter get comfortable. Vary your movements, vary your timing. Quick pitching, I mean, we make a joke about it in the dugout. We didn't watch this guy will quick pitch you. Don't let him, you know, set the tone, set the pace, step out on him.
And that confidence factor. I mean, if you're Ortiz and you look out the mound and there he is standing there ready to throw another pitch, waiting on you to get in, it
just builds a little tension in the hitter as well. You don't allow him to relax and drop that bat.
Good eye there. 3-2. The guy you saw very quickly, Mark Burley, speaking of pitching quickly, we'll see him tomorrow. That will be quick. Him and David Wells, that'll be...
The other guy's going to say he's not bad either. Yep. You know, Boomer's going to get it and throw it. He's not going to walk it.
That's going to be... We're not going to waste a lot of time there. To right center, but positioned perfectly is Aaron Rowand, and Ortiz is out. He's 1 for 3.
Mike, there's a tremendous amount of energy in this crowd here today. I mean, they had it going from the very beginning. They got here early. And
tell you what, if they didn't get here early, they missed the fireworks in the first inning.
Very intense. You might think this organization's like at a crossroads. I mean, they want to go forward. They want to prove that they're a winning organization. Had some great teams in the 90s.
Ken Williams, the general manager, really made a trade that Podsednik for Carlos Lee that changed in some ways the way they play ball. I mean, them to say that we said they've hit 3 homers today. They have more homers than Boston. It's not that they don't hit long ball, but that was a runner for a big time hitter, and that kind of changed the face of them a little bit.
Well, you live by the sword, you die by the sword. I mean, if your team is built around a 3-run home run, it's just, you're one-dimensional. You want to add a little speed. You want to be able to bunt. You want to show the defense different looks. Speed never goes into a slump. You can work a walk and get that guy on base. You can manufacture a run. You want balance. You want balance on your offense.
Ramirez to short. Uribe rockets it over to Konerko, and a 1-2-3 inning for Contreras against the heart of the Red Sox order. 8-2 Chicago.
People everywhere are experiencing a breakthrough. Fullness from a value menu.
Please. Thank you. I have an announcement. I'm full!
Taco Bell's Big Bell Value Menu, featuring the half-pound beef combo burrito with double the beef. To keep your stomach and your wallet full, think outside the bun.
Excuse me, what is that?
Oh, that's ING. They're the financial services company that's all about fresh thinking. They're full of new ideas, so you're ready for whatever comes along.
I know about ING. What is that?
It's a guy with his own theme music.
Ask your financial professional about ING.
Big Big lead for the White Sox in the bottom of the 5th, 8-2 over the Red Sox here in Game 1. And joining us now in the White Sox dugout, the skipper, Ozzie Guillen. And Ozzie, the approach against Matt Clement, was it something you guys saw early? Was it a different approach, or the balls were just up for all the home runs?
Well, I think we have to make him throw strikes and make him get the pitch count. I think the guy surprised me today. We hit that many home runs. We hit 200 home runs during the season, but really surprised me we hit that many having Clement pitch.
Ozzie, your pitcher Contreras struggled in the top of the 4th inning. You went to the mound. What'd you say to him?
I just told forget about the runners. Just eliminate the hitters. That's more important. I think sometimes José got cut off watching the runners and worry about the runners, not the hitters.
Ozzie, we saw you with Scott Podsednik trying to look at the Clement's shoulder, and are you just trying to get him to continue to be aggressive, that he could steal those bases?
Well, that's the first thing I saw him moving. That's why a lot of people, when they go to steal base, they see a different part of his body. And I was telling him the first thing he moved in the windup before he got to the plate, it was his shoulder.
Well, Ozzie came bounding out during the pregame introductions. Looks like the team was running right behind you. Keep it going. Thank you.
Thank you. See you in Venezuela.
Ozzie Guillen, always a good day. Always a good day at the park. And when you're managing in the postseason and you're the first time and you're up 8-2, that would be a good day.
Well, you know, Boomer, he's done a lot of things in the postseason. He got there as a player.
Jermaine Dye up the middle, Renteria. Millar 1 out.
And you now remember, I thought the whole key to that series, when he was the third base coach for the Marlins and they got past the Giants, went on to win a world championship, they were flat. The Giants had their number, and all of a sudden there was a base hit to right field. Jose Cruz was the right fielder, won a Gold Glove that year. I mean, it was shallow. There's no way you should have sent the runner, but Ozzie said, you know what, we got to wake up. He sent the runner. It was a bad throw. They scored the run. They won the game, and as they say, the rest was history.
It brings a lot of charisma. It brings a lot of energy to the team. You know, that could be good and bad. At times it could be a little over the top, but you know, it works. I think the guys get response.
Be your best friend, but he'll also he'll put that foot in your rear if he needs to.
Ooh, and quickly. Paul Konerko almost homered in the 1st inning. Drove in a run on a fielder's choice, then did homer in the 3rd inning.
You know, Boomer, Ozzie, and he says some things that not everybody could get away with. You know what I mean? He told the front office when he took over the team 2 years ago, he said, you know what? You don't take a donkey to the Kentucky Derby. He said, I need some horses. You know, and he was talking about the pitching staff. They traded for Freddie Garcia. They added El Duque. They added Contreras. And, you know, he rode those horses to a 15-game lead on August the 1st. They got a little tired. There were some people down that backstretch started gaining on him, and man, he pulled that whip out again. And you know, they would be burying him right now if this team did not make the postseason. You need to applaud him for what he was able to do.
End result: 162 games wire to wire, win the division, best record in league. End result. And didn't they open up your eyes and show you something the way they played at Cleveland? I mean, with quote nothing on the line.
And an outstanding young Cleveland Indian team. Very aggressive young team.
Konerko fouls it. You know, and I asked Ozzie, and I have talked to Don Cooper, a couple of the players about it. They said, you know what? We clinched the division on Thursday in Detroit, and we went into Cleveland, and all of a sudden we saw us. Not like how we finally saw, oh my God, we were this tight. And that's no disrespect to Cleveland. Cleveland had everything to get, you know, had everything to lose there. And he goes, we can't play like this. And they played loose, and you said it in the open, Mike. Maybe they found something there in Cleveland. They're certainly putting it to use this afternoon.
I mean, I think every team has a turning point in their season, and every team has a certain moment, or someone said something, or someone gets a big hit, and it just gets you going. It kickstarts your team.
Mike, I think right now the big moment in this game was when Ozzie put on the sacrifice bunt in the 1st inning. Podsednik was on first. He did not put the pressure on him to steal second. He was on first in the 2nd, and he got thrown out. That big inning could have gone away, except for Ozzie. You know what? Let's just get him in a scoring position right now. We'll let him maybe run later on. And then boom, boom, boom. And Pierzynski with the 3-run homer, a big lead.
2-2 to Paul Konerko.
Those are those intangibles as a manager. You have to be able to read your team. You have to be able to see who's responding, who's tired, and either, like you said, give them a little kick in the rear, put your arm around them. I mean, you're a psychologist. I mean,
Gloved by Bradford. Boy, a lot of balls up the middle today. Konerko has gone 2 outs here in the White Sox fifth.
It's basically the way he's managed all year. I mean, they have 53 sacrifice bunts this year. Boston only 14.
If you joined us late, the White Sox had quite a party. 2 runs already home. An opposite field 3-run shot by A.J. Pierzynski in the third. Bang. Paul Konerko, who had 40 homers during the regular season, into the bullpen for a solo shot. And then Juan Uribe in the fourth inning, a 2-run shot. All that's missing is a grand slam for the home run cycle by the White Sox. Bradford out, pitching change. Boston, they're getting to sing that na na hey hey steam song again here. 8-2.
Here's to performance that exceeds expectations. Evergreen Investments.
On this job, you notice things, like this new Steak Fanatic pizza. It's a big hit with the guys.
Steak Fanatic pizza.
Mm-hmm.
Man fuel. Cool.
Hey, hurry up! Only 23 figurines left, Hank! They're statues!
There's statues.
Introducing Domino's new Steak Fanatic Pizza. Angus steak piled on even more steak smothered in cheese. Buy a medium for just $9.99 and heap on even more Angus steak for just $2. Hit the door. It's Domino's new Steak Fanatic Pizza.
Built strong. Built comfortable. Built right. Wrangler 5-star premium denim jeans. Wrangler. Real, comfortable jeans.
Hey, what are you doing?
I'm waiting.
Come on, let's go.
Where?
Over there. What's your name?
Jerry.
Jerry, you know what a skid plate is for? Off-road stabilizer bars? A locking rear differential? Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Jerry!
Chevy Silverado, an American Revolution.
ESPN's coverage of Major League Baseball Division Series presented by Budweiser. Chris Berman, Rick Sutcliffe, Mike Piazza, Aaron Andrews with you here in Chicago, where it's been a hitting show for the White Sox. Burrow Weaver had it kind of right. Pitching, defense, and 3-run homers. The defense, not stellar, Chicago. The other parts, absolutely.
The pitching's been pretty good.
Yeah,
right.
the pitching and the homers have certainly been that way. And now, Geremi Gonzalez, one-time Tampa Bay Devil Ray and Chicago Cub. And now he's in, and if he can just pitch, he'll be an inning eater now. I mean, Bradford was coming up, well, maybe we get a game and this, but now what Francona said, you know, I didn't want to do at this point. Gonzalez could go, he could go 3 or 4. Carl Everett is up.
I think that if Boston doesn't get any closer, he's the closer. He's going to finish this game.
He's the closer.
It's his.
In a real high scoring game, we call him the Lamb. He is the Lamb.
Everett pops it. Varitek in fair ground, turning every which way but loose, makes the play. Gonzalez gets the out. And the White Sox are gone in the 5th. Heading to the 6th, fans of all ages enjoying here the 8-2 White Sox lead.
Give your